Call a regular city council meeting Monday, February 25, 2013 to order. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Putoff.
Here.
Ankiewicz.
Here.
Ferrari.
Here.
Waldorf. Lukosius.
Here.
Perez.
Here.
Radke.
Here.
Mazak.
Here.
Mayor Harrell.
Here. Pledge of allegiance. Any public comment this time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, do we have a motion to receive the regular meeting minutes of February 11th, 2013 and February 20th, 2013 and place on file?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Putoff, second by Alderman Lukosius, to receive the regular meeting minutes of February 11th, 2013 and February 20th, 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Do we have a motion to receive the Treasurer's Report for January 2013, the City Clerk's Report of cash received for January 2013, General Fund and Miscellaneous Funds Report for January 2013, Sales, Home Rule, and Telecommunication Tax Receipts for November 2012, and place on file?
I'll make that a motion, Your Honor.
Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Putoff, second by Alderman Radke, to receive the reports and place on file. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, I just wanted to point out in the Sales, Home Rule, Use, and Telecommunications Tax that the city's up 2.7% for sales tax over the previous year, which is a good sign. I mean, we're not breaking any records, but it's nice to see a stable and slightly growing retail area in our city at with this present economy. So I just like to highlight that as a very positive step for Peru.
Any other further comment? Okay, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Move the committee reports. Council and Finance. Alderman Putoff, Alderman Radke.
Council, we have tonight total disbursements for February 27th, the year 2013, $2,501,768.11. I'll make a motion to place this on file and the bills paid in the usual manner.
Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Putoff, second by Alderman Radke, to receive the disbursements and pay the bills in the usual manner. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk.
I have a question, sorry.
All right.
For the BB Gun Club, there was close to $3,700 spent. Do we have totals yet of what was donated and how much the city paid?
Do you have that, Treasurer?
I also, under that advanced sanitation, it was $2,342.50 for portable toilets. What was that for?
What's the date on it?
It's a page.
What's the page? What's the date?
Page 11. It's under Buildings and Grounds.
I can pull the invoice after the meeting and we can review that if you'd like.
Okay. Also, I'd like to make a comment on that, on the BB Gun Club. When that was presented to us, I was under the assumption that a lot of it was going to be done through donations and a lot of the work being volunteered. Which, you know, I'd like to make clear that I don't have any issues with the BB Gun Club whatsoever. I think it's great for the kids. But when that was presented to us, I didn't realize that we were going to be putting so much into it. I mean, so far we have close to, or actually it's right around $12,000. And every time we get a disbursement, I don't mind, you know, it's okay to put in a few $1,000s here and there, but now we're reaching $12,000. And anything over $5,000 is supposed to go to committee. And now we're at 12. So I have a problem with that. And this disbursement has close to, I believe we're at $3,700. And none of our committees or council has approved any funding to even go towards the BB Gun Club. So that's what I have a problem with as far as we continue putting money into it and what's it for? What are we doing with it?
What are we doing with what?
Alderman, let me kind of interject a little bit. Sure. The numbers that I have seen have not come anywhere close to what you've indicated. In fact, when Alderman Mazak asked me about do I have a total yet, the answer was I've got a running total, and so far I think the city's portion of this thing is less than $5,000. So I'm just not quite sure where you're coming up with the $12,000 number from. And if you've got information that I don't have, I would love to have it.
Well, I'm just going off the disbursements, like the one from February 27th. We have, it says Debo Ace Hardware, supplies, gloves, BB Gun Club, $1,861, which, of course, what else was in that? I'm just going off the total for the BB Gun Club, you know, that it says.
Yeah, I've got all those numbers, Alderman.
And with everything added up throughout the disbursements, our last three that we received, total is $12,000.
You'll have to show me your math on that one.
Okay.
You can give it to me after the meeting.
All right.
Okay, any other discussion? Now we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff. Aye. Mankiewicz.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Nay.
Radke.
Aye.
Mazak.
Aye.
Motion approved. Anything further from Council and Finance?
You'll see later in the agenda, we have actually the contract for the scavenger proposal. And that's it out of our committee, Your Honor.
Okay, do you want to jump ahead and do that in your committee? 'Cause it came through your committee, that would be fine. Are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an ordinance authorizing the execution of a scavenger and recyclable collection contract between the city and the RRD Holding Company. They do business as Illinois Valley Waste Services, Inc., among a number of other names. I'm here to deem the mayor form of the city is hereby authorized and directed to execute, and the city clerk form of the city is hereby authorized and directed to attest a scavenger and recyclable contract by and between the city and the contractor, attached here too. And that's the contract that is essentially the same as that we've been operating under the last 5 years, except for the dollar figures. Representative of the company handed us a certificate of insurance that names the city as an additional insured. I requested that rather than just a certificate holder, because then they come in primary in the event of any claims. So that's good, and I understand you already have the bond, Dave?
That's correct.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the ordinance as written and read?
So moved, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Putoff, second by Alderman Radke, to approve the ordinance of the execution of a scavenger and recyclable collection contract between the City of Peru and RRD Holding Company in DBA Illinois Valley Waste Services for the period commencing April 1st, 2013 and ending March 31st, 2018. Is there any discussion? Clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff. Aye. Mankiewicz.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mazak.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, we'll move on to Public Works. Alderman Waldorf, Alderman Lukosius.
Yes, Your Honor. Tonight I have the electric financial report for January of 2013. And during this period, we showed revenues under expenditures to the tune of $90,886.07. I'd like to make a motion that we accept this report and place it on file.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Lukosius, second by Alderman Ferrari, to receive the electric financial report for January 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, Your Honor, I have the electric operations report for January of 2013. During this period, total kilowatt hours sold was $1,318,708.95, and purchase power avoided due to the hydro generation was a loss of $22,625.75. I'd like to make a motion that this report be received and placed on file.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Lukosius, second by Alderman Ferrari, to receive the electric operations report for January 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? Not all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, Your Honor, I have the water financial report for January 2013. And during this period, we showed revenues over expenditures by $39,446.94. I'd like to make a motion that we receive this report and place it on file.
Second that too, Your Honor.
Been a motion by Alderman Lukosha, second by Alderman Ferrari, to receive the water financial report for January 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
The last thing, I just want to remind everyone that there will be a Public Works meeting on March 4th here at City Hall on Monday, 10 a.m.
We discussed the localizer under the, oh, that's not your, I'm sorry. Yeah. Pardon me.
That's all for Public Works, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Public Health and Safety, Alderman Ferrari, Alderman Perez.
Yes, Your Honor, we have the approved Police Department monthly report for January 2013, as submitted from Chief Doug Burnaby. I'll make a motion to accept this report and place it on file.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Alderman Ferrari, second by Alderman Perez, to receive the approved Police Department report for January 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Chief Burnaby, you have anything on the police? Thank you.
Your Honor, I have the approved fire department report for pay period ending February 16th, 2013. The approved fire department responded to 14 fire calls for this pay period, along with 2 monthly trainings, making this pay period total 16. There was also 1 mutual aid call and 1 call that resulted in 2 hours of overtime pay. Total payroll for this pay period is $4,073.73. I'd like to make a motion we accept this report and place it on file.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Perez, second by Alderman Ferrari, to receive the approved fire department report for period ending February 16, 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Your Honor, I also have the approved volunteer ambulance report. The approved volunteer ambulance service responded to 240 patient calls during the month of January. Total mileage logged was 7,342 miles for the month of January. I'd like to make a motion we accept this report and place it on file.
Second, Your Honor.
Been a motion by Alderman Perez, second by Alderman Ferrari, to receive the approved volunteer ambulance service activity report for January 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
I also have the safety committee minutes for February 6, 2013. I'd like to make a motion we accept these minutes and place them on file.
Second it, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Perez, second by Alderman Ferrari, to receive the safety committee minutes of February 6, 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Your Honor, on the agenda was for a fire pumper for the city-approved fire department. There was a motion on the agenda for giving the fire department, or E1, the authorization to prepare the specifications and proposal for a new fire department pumper rescue truck in accordance with the state bid. And I believe that what the city-approved fire department wants to do is, E1 is the company that they're going to go with, and it's pretty much securing with E1 that no other company is going to be looked into, because there's a lot of time and effort put into these specs. So whether there needs to be a motion and a second for the council to go ahead and go forward with that, then I would make that motion.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Perez, second by Alderman Ferrari, to authorize E1 to prepare specifications and proposal for new pumper rescue truck in accordance with state bid. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff. Aye. Mankiewicz.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mazak.
Aye.
Motion approved.
I have nothing further, Your Honor. Chief, do you have anything? I have nothing further.
Public property, Alderman Mankiewicz, Alderman Mazak.
Yes, Your Honor, I have the Peru Recreation Fund cash account for the period ending January 31st of 2013, submitted by Dave Barley, City Clerk. I'd like to make a motion we receive the report and place it on file.
Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Mankiewicz, second by Alderman Mazak, to receive the Peru Recreation Fund cash account summary for January 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
I have the Peru Public Library cash account summary for the period ending January 31st, 2013. The total amount in all 3 accounts is $347,893.86. I'd like to make a motion that this report be received and placed on file.
Second, Your Honor.
Been a motion by Alderman Mazak, second by Alderman Nankelewicz, to receive the approved public library cash account summary for January 2013 and place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
I also have a few items about the airport. On Friday, March 8th, the Illinois Valley Flying Club will be hosting Career Day, and that's coordinated through IVCC with students coming out to the airport and learning about different careers that they could follow in aviation. And the next thing is I talked with the airport manager, Chuck Studer. He's interested in nominating Illinois Valley Regional Airport as Airport of the Year. He came up with a letter, and I read it. It goes to Rhonda Basket at the Division of Aeronautics. They make their selection and announce in May at the Illinois Aviation Trades Association meeting in Moline. If some of the, it has to be submitted by April 22nd. Some of the things that he highlighted were the Career Day, the Young Eagles breakfast at the airport, all of the construction projects that are going on and have been going on, that we repainted the interior, put new carpeting in the press room and new landscaping, and that we do the concerts. So it's a good way to promote the airport. And I've got the copy of the letter here. I'll pass it down to everybody. And he would like you all to look at it and let him know if there's any changes or anything you'd like to add to it. That's all I have.
Okay, we'll move on to reports from City Attorney.
Well, one other thing I'd like to point out on that scavenger contract, when you went out for proposals on that, you required $3 million combined single limits insurance, and the certificate that's presented is actually $21 million, so it far exceeds what the city's requirements are. They have a $1 million base, but a $20 million umbrella. The only other matter I have is the authorization of maintenance agreement concerning the localizer equipment. It's the same company that you've used in the past. Are you ready to proceed with that, Alderman? Sherry. Be ordained, the mayor from behalf of the city of Brattleboro and directed to execute a maintenance service contract for the maintenance of navigation equipment, a copy of which is here to attach. Appropriated the sum of $10,226.79 per year for payment of the city's obligations under the contract to Benson Technical Works Incorporated.
I'd like to make a motion that that we authorize the execution of maintenance service agreement for Illinois Valley Regional Airport Localizer.
I'll second that motion, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Mazak, second by Alderman Nankelewicz, to authorize execution of a maintenance service agreement for the Illinois Valley Regional Airport Localizer with Benson Technical Works. Is there any discussion?
I think there was a lot of questions we had at the last council meeting, and certainly Mr. Studer is here to explain all of those. But if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, it's essential that the airport has this in working condition and the company ensures that it will be in working condition. Is that?
You stand up here, you got extra.
So yes, as long as we have the localizer, we have to maintain it, and it has to be done by someone that's certified by the FAA to perform that maintenance, and it has to be done on a regular basis. This company actually monitors that system remotely, and they can repair it remotely sometimes, and if they can't, then they come down and repair it. And I believe that's all included in the contract, is it not, Dave?
What does this do, Chuck? Is it like a GPS system, or?
No, it's a predecessor to the GPS system. It allows airplanes to line up on the runway, and it's very precise. Allows them to line up on the runway and stay lined up on the runway until they're real close, within a few hundred feet of the ground. We have a GPS approach, but it doesn't allow the pilots to get as low as this approach does. Actually, we've submitted the paperwork to get a GPS. It's called a WAS approach, which will allow airplanes to go lower. And someday we may be able to eliminate the localizer approach, but right now it's the best approach we have.
So you're making it sound like this localizer will be around for a while.
Yeah, I would think several more years.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Chuck, Secretary LaHood said sequestration is going to take on a lot of money for the FAA.
Mhm.
They would be losing their air traffic controllers in Peoria at night.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes.
But then they would still use
Yeah, they would just revert to a system like we use, which is basically Unicom, where aircraft just broadcast their position and intentions.
and commercial aircraft can use that?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What else you guys got?
Any more questions for Chuck? Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Mazak, a second by Alderman Nankiewicz. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff. Aye. Nankiewicz.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Prokosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke. Mazak.
Aye.
Motion approved. Unfinished business. Have any unfinished business?
Your Honor, I have one thing I'd like to bring up. Over the last couple of years, I had mentioned a few times about having a roundtable meeting amongst the council, department heads, and economic developer. And as we're getting closer into our fiscal year and approving the budget, I'd really like to see if we could schedule something within the next couple of weeks to do something, or a number of questions and things that I think that we should discuss as we're going to be going into another year. I know I've requested it, and I'd really like to see if we could go forward with scheduling a meeting that's other than a council, where we can discuss a lot of the concerns and future of the city.
Yeah, we could schedule something. We'll look into some dates.
Okay, if we could do that within, when are we looking at the budget approval, Gary? What are we?
We have to have the budget approved prior to the beginning of the next fiscal year, in other words, May 1st. What's going to kind of cloud the issues a little bit is I'm hoping to have it ready between right about mid-April. In other words, all the council members should have it right about the end of March. And this way you'll have a couple of weeks to look it over. And then hopefully we'll have it approved. I think there's a meeting right on April 17th, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's the date we're trying to target for that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if we could do something before that, in case there are some changes that we'd like to make to the budget, we'd still have time to do that. And I think it'd be very beneficial for all of us to meet and discuss certain things.
Well, you need to go over it in your committees with the superintendents from your committee. In your case, it would be Chief King and Chief Burnaby, to make sure that their portion of the budget you agree with.
Right, and we have.
as everybody else is doing.
But there are things, for example, like economic development. Is there something that we may want to consider putting more money into economic development, into possibly looking into billboards on the interstate? Is there another avenue with how's the website doing for us? There are a lot of questions that, what are we going to do with downtown Peru? There's just so many questions, and maybe there are, it's not just the budget, but it's going forward, and there may be some tweaks or some adjustments that need to be made to the budget when we have these discussions. So it'd be easy to go into the, my public safety committee and talk to them. I've already looked at our budget, and everything looks good, but I think everybody meeting together and having those discussions would be more beneficial. Thank you.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business? No new business? Proclamation.
Go ahead, he says. We have a proclamation, whereas April 11th, 2013 marks the 45th anniversary of the passage of the U.S. Fair Housing Law, Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, as amended, which enunciated the national policy of fair housing without regard to race, color, creed, national origin, sex, familial status, and handicap, and encourages fair housing opportunities for all citizens. And the City of Peru, as well as the Illinois Valley Association of Realtors, are committed to highlight the Fair Housing Law, Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 by continuing to address discrimination in our community, to support programs that will educate the public about the right to equal housing opportunities, and to plan partnership efforts with other organizations to help ensure every American of their right to fair housing. Now, therefore, Mayor Scott J. Harrell of the City of Peru does hereby resolve that April 2013, being Fair Housing Month, began a year-long commemoration of the U.S. Fair Housing Law, and urge all citizens to wholeheartedly recognize this celebration throughout the year.
We have a motion to receive the proclamation and claim April 2013 as United States Fair Housing Month.
So moved, Your Honor.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Alderman Mankiewicz, second by Alderman Radke to claim Fair Housing Month, April 2013. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Mankiewicz.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mazak.
Aye.
Motion approved. Any petitions, communication?
Yes, Your Honor, we have a communication from Stephen and Kelly Ritgraff requesting re-subdivision of two lots located at 1105 4th Street and 824 Monks Avenue.
Do we have a rough idea, Frank, do you know what he wants to do here, or before we make a motion to send it to the zoning board, or?
He wants to take a strip of land from the property on Monks Avenue and add it to the property on 4th Street to construct a detached garage.
Well, do we do that, or can?
It'll go through planning and zoning first. No, he also needs some variances for the detached garage he's going to build.
What now?
I was just asking the guy, thought that he could just go to Ottawa and do this, but I guess he can't. I'll make a motion, we send it to the zoning and.
Planning and zoning for review and recommendation.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Alderman Ferrari, second by Alderman Radke, to receive the communication from Stephen and Kelly Ritgraff requesting re-subdivision of two lots located at 1105 4th Street and 824 Monks Avenue. Refer it to the planning and zoning for review and recommendation. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Next, we have a communication from the Kiwanis Club of LaSalle, Peru, requesting permission to hold the annual Easter egg hunt at Baker Lake on Saturday, March 23rd, with a rain date of March 30th.
Alderman Ferrari.
I'll make a motion, we grant permission to have that if it fits in the calendar.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Alderman Ferrari, second by Alderman Radke, to receive the communication from the Kiwanis Club of LaSalle, Peru, requesting permission to hold the annual Easter egg hunt at Baker Lake on Saturday, March 23rd, with a rain date of March 30th. And to check with planning to make sure that the date is open and grant permission. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Any further communications?
That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Yes? You need to come up here.
I would just like to thank the mayor, the council, and the attorney for all the work we put in on this, and thank you for the opportunity, and we'll do our best over the next 5 years for you. Thank you.
Any further public comment? No further public comment? No closed session? Will we have a motion for adjournment?
Make that motion. Second, Your Honor.
A motion by Alderman Radke, second by Alderman Ferrari for adjournment. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.